Good morning. It's about 6:30 in the morning. It's Friday morning. There are gliders all over the sky. I mean, there must be at least 20 gliders. I'll show you. Turn it around. I don't know how well you can see, but they're just all over the sky. Going over. I don't know if you can see these ones. I'm trying to get them in frame. I don't know if you can see them. They look much smaller on the is that, can you see it? I don't even know if you can see it. I can't even see it in the frame. There it is, yeah. But they're all over the sky, going right over me, and they're all across the horizon, and they all went up over the mountain here. There must be 20 or 30 of them. It's really interesting to see. I'd like to do that one day. I would really like to do that. There's one just going right over me up there. I don't know if you can see it. There it is. And another one off to my side. They must have a fabulous view up there of the whole Sea of Galilee, the Golan Heights, all of the Galilee. They should be able to see all the way to the Mediterranean and all this mountain view. They're making quite a bit of noise. What I want to talk about is synchronicities on the twin flame journey. I met with my twin again yesterday. I I called him in the afternoon, like late. It was already must have been after 5 or close to 6, and asked him if he wanted to do something. I offered to come over, and he said no. But I know it sounds funky, but if you know him, he's funky. So I already know that it's not personal. If he says no, it just means he doesn't want. That's all. That's all it means. He could say, if he feels like it, he would say yes. So and and he's his own thing. He's his own, it's like there are. He was saying yesterday at the beach about how that statistics, all statistics are the if you have this spectrum and there's a large sum of people that are right in the middle, then that is going to be the statistic, and then that is going to be the norma. And then what society wants you to believe is that you're supposed to, all the ones on the sides are supposed to come in to be that norma. But what he was saying, and which I found really interesting because I've always been off, off on he said, when you have that spectrum, the ones that are out on the edges, they're the more interesting ones. And just because that most people are like this, it doesn't mean that, when somebody is off on the side of the spectrum, on either side of the spectrum, off on the sidelines, outside of the norm, for them, how they are is 100%. It's not, they're not 5% of a life. They're 100% of a life. So for them, the statistics aren't really relevant. I hope I explained that right, and explained that to where it's understandable. Because you say, okay, so everybody, when they judge children or whatever, you say, okay, you're at 50th percentile, which is complete average. But for the ones that are at 100 percentile, it doesn't make a difference for that the society statistics don't matter for that person. They're 100% off of the charts. So there's more gliders, and they're just going right over me. I can count. There's one, right over me now. There's a whole bunch that already went. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10, 11. And there's a whole bunch that already passed over. Oh, and over there's another couple. So there's 13. There's 2 more over there. Oh, there's another one. So maybe that's 14, or maybe I was counting that. Oh, there's another one over there. There's a lot of them. They're going right over me. That must be super fun for them. Really fun for them. I want to go do that. It's flying. They're flying. I have my coffee in a jar. So the thing with this twin flame journey, the synchronicities are uncanny. And I've noticed this all along, that there's just like we're always on the same page. And what I've been noticing is that there is also like a mass synchronicities if we're with the people that we're connected with. A lot of let's say tarot card readers. Like last night, like they will be speaking, and they will be speaking exactly what I'm going through, and it's almost like, wait a minute, how do they know that? How do they know that? And I'm starting to realize that we're more and more people all going through the exact same things. Like yesterday, I had like this funky look. They're like right over me. I don't know. Had this energetic, there's energetic fields all around us that we're connected to, and I think that it's kind of like archetypes, different energetical archetypes that we're connected to, and the ones that, some of us, and we're connected to different energy fields. We're connected to a lot of different energy fields at the same time, each and every one of us individually. And there are some energy fields that some people are connected to, and some energy fields that other people are connected to, and then it's a combination of all these different energy fields. And that's how we connect also to one another, because we're connecting through our source, right? So if our source is connected to all these different energy fields, then we also are able to connect and vibe with other people that are connected to the same energy fields. And so the uh, our twin flame is, we have like the exact vibration or the exact connection, or we're connected to the exact energy field. So it feels like we're going through, very, very, very similar things. So yesterday I had a little bit of a difficult day after the night before also, because I really, that was one of those moments that's like aha moments, one of those things that you really hits you like in the pit of your stomach, with everything that happened the night before with my twin at the beach. And for him, it was just him being him. And for me, it was like detrimental. It's those mirrors that keep coming up, those mirrors that they trigger in us, the like. And thank you for all of your comments and regards and good wishes, and suggestions and love that I feel from all of my viewers that are writing in, and giving me, pointers, and strengthening me on my path. So thank you for all of that. It's the same thing. It's the energy fields that we're connected to. So it was really strange, because he was asking me how I was yesterday when we got to the beach, and I told him I had kind of like a funky day. Like I didn't get enough. I didn't get as much as I wanted to done. I didn't get anything really that I wanted to done. I did. I don't even know really what I ran around. I got up in the morning. I took my son into Tiberias, and then I had a dentist appointment at 10:15, and I was in Tiberias at 9. So I went to the hot springs, and I was there for like 5 minutes. I just went in. I felt like, I don't know, something drew me there. I think that going in, it's like a cleansing. And the night before, from all the crying and stuff, it's kind of like a cleansing, but it cleanses you. The water there comes out of, it's like sulfur, and it's full of minerals and sulfur. And it smells like boiled eggs. And there's something about the water, and it's hot, and it comes straight out of the ground. So it's coming from the depths of the earth. Um, and I don't know, it just feels like it's in between. If there's in between heaven and earth, this is like a connection between, I don't know, it like grounds you, and somehow I feel like it cleanses you. Also in your like soul, something in the hot water, something in, there's something there that is very, very unique. And actually, it was written about in, I think, Enoch, in the Book of Enoch, maybe. I might be mistaken, but right there, it's in the Yarmouk Valley, which is also where, um, was it Paul was doing baptisms? Was Paul the one that was doing baptisms? Or John? It was John the Baptist. and he was baptizing in the Yarmouk Valley, which is on the other side. That's where the hot springs are. They're down the Yarmouk Valley, and there's also like a river that flows there, um, and connects. That place is also historically known, and in Enoch, it actually is written about the place. I don't want to say what's written there because I don't remember really, but I remember that it kind of it does speak about purifying and about I don't know. You'd have to look it up. I'll have to look it up. Um, but I went there, and then I went and washed myself off in the Sea of Galilee because you smell after you go to the hot springs. And then I went to the dentist, and then I got home, and I was going to send out a package, but then I saw that there wasn't any. Uh, you have to make an appointment to go to the post office anymore ever since Corona. And so there weren't any, everything changed since Corona. Everything is like, everything from the system has become way more tight. Like everything is, you can't do anything without Big Brother knowing. You really can't do anything. You can't even take a bus anymore. You have to have a bus card, and the bus card is under your name and under your, like you would say, Teudat Zut, but it's like your social number. And so the government knows where you are, where you're going, what you're doing. Our phones have trackers in them, everything. It's like you can't, and not that I think that I'm all that important that somebody's going to want to track me or whatever, but it's kind of like as the masses we're losing our freedom, because the minute that somebody does want to control you or know where you are, then we're already conditioned into it. And see, this is getting to what I was going to talk about about synchronicities. I did a video the other day about us, about twin flames being leaders into the new world, or even just, it doesn't even have to be twin flames. Twin flames, I feel like we are like catapulted into this, into the spiritual healing, by doing the work with our twin. And but all of us who are going through a spiritual awakening, and we are waking up from the matrix, and we're like all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute, we can see. Each and every one of us, once you're able to see, it kind of becomes your responsibility. And there are masses of people waking up now that are so far disconnected from their own nature, that have lived in this society. When I was talking about the spectrum, all the mainstream, the people that are sitting right smack in the middle of the spectrum and don't know any different. This has been generation and generation and generation of conditioning, to society's way of thinking. And when you are in the mainstream, going by a society, going by, schools were made to make factory workers. We are mass producing people as factory workers, and then there's a few on the top. And when you can see this, when you can see that we are being conditioned to live in fear, live in the matrix, constant pressure of making a living, and running around after money, and money has become like the new god, and your worth is based on how, on that. I see so many artists in the places that I go, and the people that I meet, down on the beach, the people that live down there, the people that are out on the spectrum I was talking about, that are way out of mainstream. They're on the sidelines of the spectrum. Like my twin was saying, the people that live on the sidelines of the spectrum, they're the most interesting people because they're off the wall. You meet people that are completely doing their own thing. But one of the things that I've noticed is it's a lot of artists, a lot of people with unique ways of thinking, a lot of geniuses living down on the beach, just and tossed completely out of society. It's like they have no place in society, and they have no place in it, so they're still going over. It's like they were cast out, and not only cast out, there's so many of us, cast out of society, and I include myself in that. I include myself in that, and it's partially what I include in it. Oh, there's one guy, he's going, like, I don't know if it's a guy or a gal, but he's going right, like he is front center with me here. I'll just turn around shy, just because he's like right in my face. You see him in the valley there? I don't know how well you can see. It's like so funny. He's like right in my face. There's two people in that little glider there. It looks way closer in real life. It's they're oblivious to me. I'm sure they can't see me. I'm just sitting here like blending into these stones. So and I'm purposefully I like being out on the sideline. I can't I've never really felt like I belonged in the mainstream. And when I did, it was like I put on my hat, my mainstream hat, and I stepped into the to the pose. But I don't really think that I ever really I didn't really blend, and by choice. And now I'm embracing it. When I was younger, I always felt like I'm out of place, like I don't fit in, that I'm different, that. But now it's like by choice, yeah, just like my twin said last night, yeah. The most interesting people live out on the sidelines. They're the ones out there doing their own funky thing. And they are 100%, of in their life, they're 100%. They're not 5% of the norm. In their life, they're 100%. What's happening to them is happening to them. So I really get that, and I pick up on that and resonate with that. And so with these synchronicities, it's like we're all connected to the same energy field. And I'm seeing that, like yesterday when we got to the beach, he asked me how I was, and I told him I was having this strange day, that I wasn't able to really get it going. It wouldn't really get going. And in the middle of the day, I even laid down and meditated, and I really didn't do like hardly anything that I wanted to do. I did go and pick up my son afterwards in the afternoon, and we went shopping in Tiberias again. Like after I got back home, and procrastinated around a whole bunch of stuff and put my videos up. Like that's all I really wanted to do. And then I laid down for a little while because I couldn't get myself to do anything. And maybe I straightened up a little bit, maybe. Yeah, I don't know where I put my time, but I'm always busy, but I don't know where I put my time. But then I laid down for a little while, and I talked to my mother-in-law, his mother, not my mother-in-law, but that's how I feel. And so, a year ago, I would have imagined, like, once I realized that I was on this twin flame journey, I would have imagined that I would be, I don't know. On one side, I feel like our twin flame journey is like fast track. Like, we're going so fast on this because I know that we're always at maximum capacity of what we're able to contain from the other one. Like, I go in, I get smack thrown on the like I did the other night, just total like into the dirt. And then by yesterday, I was already, coming out of it. I think maybe that was also part of the strangeness of yesterday. It's a bee. What's it gonna do? And then yesterday when we got to the beach, and that's what I was going to say, it landed on me and then flew. What I was going to say is that he started asking other people how their days were energetically, and everybody that he asked at the beach had had a strange energetic day yesterday. And one person there was telling us that it was something in the stars. I don't know exactly. I can't really remember because I don't understand that much about it's cosmology, like about the stars. I do understand that there is something to it that I'm realizing more and more and more, and that I want to know more, but there's just so much that I want to know, and there's only one lifetime. And so I understand that there's something going on with the stars, something with like Scorpio. There's, I don't know, something with Scorpio, and that yesterday was the end of the Mayan calendar, so it must be New Year today. And there was something else going on. I don't remember. But energetically, every single person that he asked was having like all of these artist type people were having a really weird, strange, funky day yesterday. So it's kind of like, I'm kind of curious to hear, whoever's watching this, if they felt some of that energy. And The other day I did a post. I've been talking a lot about being leaders into the new world, and I don't mean in a way of, yeah, let's get out there, we have to do something, because there's nothing really to do but do your own self work. Bring yourself, rise yourself, your vibration, our vibration. And in that, we're setting an example, because when people meet us, they see that, oh, wait a minute, what is that? Well, like, that there's another way of being, that they're which is peaceful. Like, my brother keeps telling me to read this book, The Peaceful Warrior. And I kind of feel like I didn't read the book yet. I started reading it. Or listening to it. I think I was listening to the audiobook. And it sounds like it really has potential. And if my brother read it and it really talked to him, then I think I should finish reading it, even just so that I can correspond with him on it. It's something that really moved him spiritually. And he's younger, and he's 33 maybe, I think. Really handsome, tall, single. and so and so so I just so that I can connect to him and see where he is on his spiritual path, because he said that he read it a few times. I think it's like his guru book. Speaks to him. So I'd like to see what speaks to him and where he's at and what he's going through, kind of. And I know that he's also struggling now with alcohol a little bit. And so my twin put up a post on Facebook. If I'm talking about leading into the new world, he talks about the new world a lot too. We talk about similar things. So you could say, okay, well, we come from the same world, which we do. But the synchronicity is, and there's so many, it's just constant. And they're in like tiny little things, and wearing the same clothes and being at the same places. Like, a lot of times we'll just, before, now I more call him and just like, hey, you want to do something? Oh, look. Okay, there's a doggy that showed up here. I tell you what. There's a neighbor up here. It's like 6:30 in the morning. Maybe it's like getting closer to 7. And he comes down here with his dog, and he throws something, and his dog goes and catches it. So I think he realized that I'm down here talking, because his dog ran down here to catch whatever it is that he's going to throw, but then he didn't throw it. So I'm going to pause this for now. I'm going to think about the synchronicities. So he put up a Facebook post talking about the collapse of the old world. And it's right when I'm posting. It's kind of like those mirrors that we have, where we are like, we're like opposite mirrors. It's like, a lot of times I'll see like this side of something, and he'll bring the exact opposite side of it, but they both fit together like in perfect synchronicity. So, like, he will say, if I say white, he says black, but we're speaking of the exact same thing. So, like, I was talking about being leaders into the new world, and then he was talking about the collapse of the old world. In his Facebook page, he explained it, like, he called it the uh, plastic dynasty is falling. There's a new world being born of it. And he put it in such a way that it was like very clear to whoever understands it. And I could see how whoever's stuck, like, it's like a fish that is in water, that doesn't know that it's in water, and somebody says, hey, how's the water? It's going to be like, what's water? And I feel like it's the same thing with people that are stuck in the middle of the matrix, in the middle of that pressure, and that way of thinking, that following the politics, and they're getting all, to here or to there, I'm on this side of politics or on that side of politics. It doesn't matter what side you are on. If you're in it, you're giving power to it. If you're even, living, if it is affecting your life, which is affecting all of our lives. Yeah, we live, this is the world that we live in. But I mean, if you are actually, it's moving your being, then you're taking part. If you're watching news, you're giving it power. So I don't even know what's going on really. What I figure with news is that I don't need to know, whatever is relevant to me in my life always shows up in my life through my life, my movement in my life. If there's a bomb coming down, I'm going to see it. If it's coming into my life, I'm going to see it. If something is relevant to me, it always has a way of showing up in my life. If it's not relevant to me, I don't need to know it. Why do I need to hold on to all of the pain? Why do I need to, give power to things? Or, if you think about 2,000 years ago, there were people all over the world. But whoever was sitting in these lands didn't know what was going on in China because it wasn't relevant to their life. And that is the kind of animal that we are. The dogs are sitting here with me. This right now is what their life is about. Only this. There's nothing else. They're not thinking about the house. They're not thinking about what food they're going to eat. They're not thinking about, this is what's relevant to them. So we are a little bit more of a complex, we have capabilities of self-thought and observation and memory and we can do all of these configurations. So we're much more of a complex being, but still, if we try to take in all of the intake of everything that's around the world, it just causes a bunch of mumbo jumbo in our brains, and then we don't actually function in this life. What is actually relevant to us, and it puts a lot of stress on us too, because if you notice in the news, it's mostly just bad stuff, and they're doing that to get ratings, to get uh, so that advertisers, also to put fear in the people and keep the people in line. If there's all this going on, they're taking your mind and they're putting your focus on whatever they want your focus to be on, the media. And the media, who feeds the media? It's the big money cycle. Um, and the money has to come from somewhere. And if you want to continuously get the money, you have to make whoever happy, right? If they're not happy, they're not going to advertise with you. They're not going to support you. You're going to get a lot of and so mainstream is just that. Mainstream. It's the mainstream. It's the stream that they're trying to get everybody into. And the ones that are on the outsides of the spectrum, like out on the edges, are kind of tossed out of society and also branded as freaks, crazies, whatever you want to call it. And then you have fear of being individual, because if you're individual, you're going to be branded and you're going to be cast out and you're going to be shunned and you're going to be, get a big old weirdo stamp stamped right on your forehead. So, oh, there's 2 deer down there. That's that deer family that I see out here a lot of times. There's a couple of places on these mountains that I see deer, so I'm not going to turn it around because I've already learned you just can't, the camera just doesn't, they're so vast that you'd have to have a really good camera to focus in on them to show you really in detail. So these synchronicities are unbelievable and uncanny. And then, so then when we left the beach, I always feel like on this twin flame journey, it's like frustrating. There's always like this something underlying. It's always frustrating. And the mirrors that you get smacked up in the face, and then you're trying to and then you overthink things, and then you have like these emotions that come up. And so yesterday when we were walking back to the car, I had a total hissy fit. I threw a total hissy fit. I think it was like maybe one of the first hissy fits that I really threw next to him. I was just like mad, but mad in like a frustrated way. And I went into a rant. I said, I'm so sick of this. I'm sick of this. And I was like throwing a fit and like stomping my feet. That I'm sick of this. I'm always feeling like crap, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I don't want to do this anymore. I always end up feeling like at a loss. Because when we left, like when we left, I don't know. It didn't feel like I always feel like I think I just want to be with him all the time. So I think that was part of it. I didn't feel like I felt like, and I also felt like we were leaving early. It felt early, but it wasn't really. It was like it had to have been close to 10 because I think I got home. It was already 10:30, so it had to have been like maybe 10 and a little bit after 10 because it only takes me 10 minutes to get down to the beach. And I don't know. After the last couple of days, he asked me if I smoked, and I told him that I didn't. And I think that he already knew that I didn't, and I think that he was just asking so that I would know that he's following, you know, to encourage me, that to know that he is paying attention. Ew, a tick. Okay, now I'm a little bit getting paranoid. Not too much, it'll pass, but it's kind of grody. Having a tick crawling on you. So I, so I was throwing this hissy fit, and I was like stomping my feet, and I was like I was just like frustrated. I said I was sick of being frustrated. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of always feeling crappy, and like it's always so intense. And then and when I get like that, I start walking fast. But he didn't change his pace. He's like a rock. And so I slowed down, and it calmed me down. Just that he didn't change his pace made me have to like sit in that frustration. And he looks at me and he says, and he almost stopped. And he looks at me and he says, well, what's the alternative? So what's the alternative? You can fight against it, just hurts more. And I know that he knows exactly what I'm going through, and he's going through the same. Just by that saying that, he said, and when you להתנגד, זה כואב יותר. He said, איזה ברירה יש לך? Like, what choice do you have? What choice do you have? You can either be on the spiritual awakening because it's like you're catapulted into it and you have to. You can either be on the spiritual awakening, or you can fight against it and you're getting taken down the river anyway. So you can be taken down the river grasping at straws on the sidelines, or you can just decide to surrender into it and let it flow and flow down the river. But it was nice to know that he knows exactly, because I imagine that he's going through the same thing, that it's also frustrating for him, that he was also, whenever I go through these frustrating times, I think that then I realize that he's going through the same thing, but in his own way. And just like he told me, when I'm going through the same intense feelings, it's just I'm going through my own lessons and you're going through your own lessons, which is his probably the maximum that he is able to say to let me know that we are on the same page, that they to express, that we're going through the same thing. And then when we left, he sent me this tarot card reading. Really good. It was something great is coming. I don't remember exactly what it was, and I'll try to remember to put it in the description of this video. But it was for Virgo. We're both a Virgo. We were born. His birthday is one day before mine, so we were born a day apart. 3 years difference. I'm younger than him in 3 years. And so he sent me a tarot card reading that was like so connected to a video that I did before, where I said I feel like something big is coming. I can feel it with this whole new world, coming into the new world. Something big is coming. I can feel it. So he sent me this tarot card reading of this woman that she's really good, and she was saying the same thing. Something big is coming for you. Like, something big is coming. And when you listen, there are a few channelers and readers, like tarot card readers, that are like spot on. It's like we're connected to the exact same energetic field. exact things that I'm saying, they're saying in different words. The exact things that I'm going through and feeling, they are picking up on. And then they're also picking up on other things. And when you can see how somebody is so spot on that you believe what they're saying. So other things that even if you're not going through the exact same thing, but you grasp what they're saying, you can see it. You can see the truth in it, even if it's not something that you're going through. And plus, you start to trust them. You start understanding that what they're saying, it's so far connected, like it's so connected and it's so accurate that you have to believe. It's like in the beginning, it's like mind toggling. Like your mind starts going, wait a minute, what is this person in my head? And you start thinking, okay, is this set up? Is this set up? Like, there's no way. How could they know that? How could they know that? The synchronicities are so strong. Um, so with my twin, it's often like that. I'll do a video about a certain subject, and then we'll meet in the evening, and he'll be talking about the exact same thing, and he's not watching my videos. I don't think that he would be able to. I think that he would be able to do whatever he wants to do, yeah. But I think that it would be like for him, kind of like too gushy. It's like he has like this this hard exterior. Okay, I'll tell a little bit about him. Oh, and so one of the things I said, I was just like, I was sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I was throwing like this big, massive hissy fit, and he was saying, "Well, what's the choice? What's your alternative? What, you're going to fight against it? It's just going to be more painful." And I said, "Yeah, I know. When I fight against it, it's more painful, but I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of it." And he knew exactly what I was talking about. He knew exactly. And he said, you, but what about me? At least people like you. You show up and people lighten up and they like you. He says, I come into places. He didn't even have to say it because I knew exactly what he was talking about. He has like this, he's like a sabra, like the, there's a, there's a fruit that comes from a cactus that has all of these little like spikes on them. And if you try to peel it, you just get they just, I don't know, they go all over. They get all over in your mouth and they get all over. It's a really tasty fruit, but you have to get through all the stickers that are all over it in order to get to the soft interior. And he's like that, and that's why I also have done videos about him being the Messiah because, and I'm laughing, but I it's true, because the reason why he's so stickery to people is because he can't stand falsity and and inauthenticness, and it hits him like he can't be around it. And also because he has done so much self-work, and I think that also because of his life experience, he was born into special circumstances. I was telling him yesterday about that spectrum that he was talking about people being out on the edges. I said, if you know that he's so far out there on the edge, he's like way over there on the edge. You need binoculars to see him, how far out there he is on the edge. But he's so true to himself and so true to nature. It's like he finds the true pattern and he sticks to it, and his truth doesn't falter. It doesn't move. When he finds the truth, and he is so well connected to the ethers, or he channels the angel archetype, Enoch, which you could call Mercury. It has many different names. And so he channels Enoch, and he does a channeling on his Facebook. He puts out usually once a week, sometimes, whenever it comes to him, he channels messages through him, and he's excellent at it. His messages are always spot on. There, it's like leading. I told him that he really needs to get all of the messages that he's done in the last years, and he does them with tarot cards. Tarot cards. He doesn't. He said he doesn't read the tarot cards. He puts the tarot cards out, and they kind of tell him like all of a sudden he'll get an inspiration, and the channeling will start coming through. And so he matches it up. So he has pictures and text to create a book, and it's years worth of messages. And I told him, if somebody follows him and reads his messages, and he has a lot of people following him and a lot of people reading his messages, and I'm wondering, because I think Facebook does automatic translation from Hebrew to English. but he writes so well. I wonder how well the translation would be. I wonder if you'd be able to get the gist of it if you followed and read his messages. I told him he needs to gather all of those messages up from all of the years and put them into a book, because it's a leading. All of those messages combined, I see week after week after week, it's leading you into your spiritual awakening. So it's talking at you at all the different levels. It's like sometimes I read his messages and it's like a mind buzz. It's like, bzzz. It's very, very inspiring. And also it like moves you into action. Like the things the foresight and the hindsight and the understanding what you're going through. Like all of a sudden he'll put something up that's it, and you see by the remarks how many people are like, oh, this is just exactly what's going on in my life. This is spot on. This is spot on. And it's coming through. Um, so he has this uncanny connection. And when he meets people, a lot of times just the meeting with him mirrors back to the people all the places that they're off, because he's so his truth is so strong, and he's so stand up. I would even say like right in righteousness, in rightness. Righteousness is being rightness, in sync with the universe, in sync with the right ways of thinking, of sound mind. He was born to his father was on the autistic on the spectrum, and his mother also has mental, like you would say it would be mental challenges. Let's say I'm not going to get into it. I did in a different video before. Um, I don't remember what it was. I think it was, the video was called "The Twin Flame Journey and Spiritual Awakening are about finding balance," and I think I talked in there about his mother to an extent. But because of the circumstances that he was raised in, he was kind of forced into figuring everything out and figuring it out on his own. Um, and if you are thrown into a life with all of this going on, you have to be able to find your own path and some kind of something to you have to be able to find truths and things, because you're catapulted into chaos. Um, and he has this connection, and he did the mainstream thing. He did the mainstream thing big time, successful, went to law school, worked for a multimillionaire under his wing, like his what do you call it, mentor was his mentor, and kind of took him in, and he learned all sorts of things. He's super genius, super genius. I mean, super genius, not just me saying he's super genius. A super genius, like with a V on it, like society tested, um, Einstein style. And I'm saying that again. It's not just me saying it. It's it's tested, tested, mainstream tested. And so he has all of these, and and he doesn't have patience for bull crap. Like he doesn't have time. So like if he doesn't have time for people that don't interest him, he doesn't have time. And so a lot of times when we come into like social situations, just his being and the way that he is, it starts pushing everybody's buttons, because the things that he says are so aligned with truth of the universe, that anybody that a lot of people, like he can say one thing and it'll touch 10 people in different ways, because it is because that their places that they're off are hitting up against a wall of truth. And his truth is so, and I know this because I've gone through it with him, and I'm still going through it. It's like these little tiny adjustments. It's like having this superpower external mirror for your internal. We have to do the work. We are our own savers. Each and one of us has to make the decision to save ourselves. And saving ourselves, I mean, by teaching ourselves, or getting ourselves aligned, by casting out false ways of thinking, addictions, blame, places that we're not um, truthful in, and that we don't even know that we're not truthful in. Places that are off with the universe, off of things that we think that we know that aren't, or there's all sorts of things, and places that we're off, places that we are giving away our power, places that we are not standing up in our own true being because we're afraid, fears that we have, all of those different things. And so when he comes into a social situation, a lot of times, that his solid truth, and he has this like refined knowing. It's like you can see my body language. It's like this ultimate truth, and it's unwavering, and it's solid. And if anybody dares, and I mean it in a nice way, yeah, you dare to get into it, because a lot of people, when they meet him, they won't even ask him questions because he's like spiky. They're afraid to get the answers because it hurts, because it goes against, all of a sudden you're getting the strong mirror of all the places that you're off, just like on the twin flame journey. So it's kind of like that. But it's like this external mirror to your falsities, and it's painful. It's super painful, because now that it's like popping pimples. It's like bringing your crap up to the service, yeah, into service, up to the surface, and it being exposed, and knowing that somebody sees your bull crap that you don't even see. Like, it's being exposed, but not only is it being exposed, it's being exposed to yourself, and your ego's fighting it. It's like, no, I don't want to see that. I want to, I want to live off on La La Land. But that is the spiritual awakening. And I imagine that when I see him and how that works, because he was saying to me how at least people like you when you come into situations, with me, a lot of times he gets like this, or people just all of a sudden, at first people are like, and then they start getting mirrors, and then they just like turn into like, and you can see their eyeballs get about this big around, like, because it's uncanny. It's like Twilight Zone. You meet him, and all of a sudden it's like, what is that? What is that? That person sees right through me. And he says what he thinks, and you can't stop his mouth. He just says it like it is. And I think that lately he's been really working on not having to say everything, because a lot of times your words are lost. They're, I don't think that he does it even on purpose. It's just how he is. And that's why I think, like Yeshua, like the Messiah, I think that Yeshua was exactly the same. I feel like it's the same energy that flows through him, flowed through Yeshua. And I feel like the counter to that is the energy that flows through me. And I feel that's why all of a sudden I'm feeling like this complete connection to Mary Magdalene. It's so uncanny that I ended up here in Galilee. You know, it's just really weird. And I actually am having glimpses of memories um, of past lives and of being in this place. Um, just things that I know that I just get pictures of, but I can see that it's in a different time. Um, Things that I see and I know what happened there. Just I know, but not from a way of a historical up on the top way, from being at the ground level and looking at the stone. I'm like, oh, that stone. It's like this. It's more of an in-depth knowing. It's like an intimate knowing. Like, I've done this before. We've been here before. We've done this twin flame journey before. We've done it before. I know it. I even told him a few times, we've done this before. And at one point he said, "What did we do before?" And I said, "This, what we're doing now. We've done this before." I didn't, I told him one time that I called it the twin flame journey, but since then I haven't really talked to him about it because I know that it's like we have these unspoken, like we're slowly coming into union, um, more and more and more, getting closer. At one point, I think it was before I started doing these videos, he told me, like, we were talking about touch. And sometimes he's off with touch. Like he doesn't, sometimes he'll tell me, okay, I don't want to hug right now. Or usually like when we meet, we hug, and when we part, we hug. It's not a like a gushy kind of, oh, let me fondle you hug. It's just kind of like a friendly hug, changing of energy. And it's not like prolonged or anything. It's just like a simple hug, like with between friends. And sometimes he'll be a little bit like, I don't want any energy, I don't want any touch, or like if I put out my hand to him, he won't take my hand, or things like that. And and I get it because I get him. It's not personal. It is personal, but it's not personal because sometimes he just can't handle the interacting with the vibrations, different vibrations. And I get it, and that's okay. um And at one point, he even told me, like, there can't be touch between us. There can't be touch between us. If there was touch between us, then we couldn't even meet. We wouldn't be able to even. And I kind of got from what he was saying, the energy of what he was saying, because we understand things energetically on this twin flame journey, is that the energy would be too intense, that we couldn't, there wouldn't be that we would be like catapulted away from each other. It would be like the two planets colliding and getting thrown away. And I like how we're doing this work. I really like it. I mean, sometimes it's super painful, but I'm noticing that I'm going through the pain a lot quicker and getting the lesson a lot quicker. And I'm learning how to let go because every time you have pain, it's like you're holding on to something. That's the holding on to. So whenever I start feeling the pain, like it'll stay for like a few hours. I cry through it, and then it turns into determination or it turns into something else, but I dissipate it. I let it go. I'm not holding on to him. I keep on remembering this, that this is a balancing trick. It's a balancing act. And this whole journey, it's just one lifetime. It's just a big game, and this is our big playground. We get to do whatever we want. However extraordinary we make our being, is that extraordinary as our life becomes. Like, this is all divinely guided, and couldn't be any different. So he's something else. So that's what the Messiah energy is. Like, I'm looking, and there's a whole bunch of sticker plants over here, and I'm looking at there's a sticker ball over there. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm just talking about the Sabras and how I imagine that is how Yeshua was, you like a light that you can follow, because it's like setting an example. Because like I've said in many videos, we don't see ourselves. The only way that we see ourselves is through mirrors of other people, through the reflections of ourselves, that we see parts of ourselves in other people, but it can't be a whole of ourselves. It's just parts of ourselves in other people. And and also in interactions, how people interact with us, we kind of get the gist of how we come off. And that was something that he was saying. It's like when he comes into a situation, and a lot of times people are really off with him, or like, and I asked him, was that like that your whole life? And he said, yeah, ever since he remembers, that it was like that. And for years and years and years, until his spiritual awakening, he didn't understand it. I think that it's just in the later years, these past 10 years or so, that he has really become to understand that he is a mirror for people, and people are like pushing away, but they're pushing away from seeing their own selves. And like I was saying, there's like two parts to everything. Everything is dual, just like there's female, male, black, white, good, bad. All of there has to be contrast in order for something to exist. And it's just like that. We have to be our own saviors from within. We're the only ones that can do the self work and save ourselves from ourselves. And we're the only ones that can intimately know exactly everything that we've gone through in our life that created this. And we know why we do what we do. We're the only ones that can dig inside and fix ourselves. But at the same time, we have to be able to see ourselves and get this reflection back in order to um, even know where we're off. And when you meet my twin, it's like all of a sudden you get smack in your face all these reflections of yourself, and you can't deny it. And that is why I have been saying that I really see him as the Messiah. Because what is the Messiah? Is like a savior, is somebody that is able to come in and give you the reflections of yourself in places that you need to do the work or you can't see yourself. So that is why I've been saying that. And I truly, truly, truly believe it because I can see how it works. And that's one of those things that I want to sit down and actually write out. Like, would you recognize the Messiah, and write out this whole part of it? I'm procrastinating around a little bit. So, because it's very complex to explain. So I'm going to go ahead and end this here. And I really appreciate you watching. And I'm wishing you lots and lots and lots of love and appreciation. And thank you for watching.